This part is a mess, and so am I. Hello everybody, and welcome to the finale of Let's Play Diddy Kong Racing. At least the N64 version. I am Hunter, and in the last part, we finished off the silver coin challenges for Future Funland. And in this part, we're going to be doing, well, as you can tell by the length of the video, quite a lot. But first things first, trophy race for Future Funland. Now, like I said last time, this race is 100% optional. You don't have to do this, and as far as I can tell, you basically get nothing out of this other than bragging rights, so you don't need to do this. Either way, once again, Banjo is preferred for his top speed is pretty good, even though his acceleration is a bit crap. And since there's no other objectives, you really don't have to worry about anything getting, regarding getting into first and losing it once you get up there. But, yeah. So, that's a thing. And as you can tell, yes, the audio glitches are still happening. However, with this, with my new room layout, maybe I'll be able to use my desktop, and maybe that'll have a bit better time with the capture card, because I don't think this laptop is able to process it. Because, I mean, it can run games really well, but I don't think it's able to do video recording stuff as good. So, that's a thing. Anyway, yeah, so, you're probably wondering, Hunter, why is this now just going up? And I'm like, well, listen, long weekend, I wanted to relax a little bit, plus, well, I only just got back this past week, so, yeah, I don't have an excuse. I was just lazy and didn't really have the time to record this. Because basically, why this part is as long as it is because I actually did what people said I should probably do, and just show off how TT is unlocked, but not go through every single time trial race, and just show off, like, maybe the last race I do to unlock him, which I do. So, that's a thing. And, I also wanted to record some cheat code stuff, but even though those are, like, two things, for some reason, I made it the most arduous process ever. And so, it took a few tries and other things, and plus, well, I picked up quite a few games, understatement, at, too many games, which is, yes, that's where I went. I'm sorry I didn't make it more clear, but I was, just too little too late, really. I didn't make a YouTube post about it. Anyway, I picked up quite a few games, and one of them was Ocarina of Time, and I got sucked back into that again like I was 6 years old, so oops. And also Lego Racer, which I'll be using as a comparison to, talk about the flow of this game, and my final thoughts near the end of the video, when we get there, which will be a while. So, yeah. As a result of that, Banjo is not going to be starting today, obviously, but I will, aim to get it started sometime this month, hopefully. Because I did say I wanted to record it, and I still plan to record it, because, god damn it, I need to. At the very least, I want to get it done before Banjo drops in Smash, because then, it'll be worth it. I'm not sure if I'm going to go through every single banjo-kazooie game, even though now I own all of them, in some form or another. By which I mean I do own all of them now, officially. Like, I got the lot. I got the lot on the original consoles too. But I will try and at least finish Kazooie. Maybe Tooie, but Tooie is a little bit of a longer game, so I'm not holding out hope for that. Yeah. But I also did acquire Diddy Kong Racing while I was away. Diddy Kong Racing DS rather. So if people want a second adventure run-through, which, for the record, second adventure is basically the same, except all of the courses are mirrored. The is even harder, and instead of gold balloons, you're collecting silver balloons, which look like disco balls. Well, they don't look like disco balls, but they have a texture of a disco ball, as far as I can tell. You'll see it later, because I think I do show off one course, which you guys know what course it's going to be. It's going to be Crescent Island. To more or less kind of give you a taste of what that would play like, but not really, because it's also the course I use to show off cheat codes, or magic codes as they're called in this game, which aren't in the Diddy Kong Racing. Yeah, So it's not, you know, part length aside, I do actually have quite a bit to talk about, so there won't hopefully be any lulls in the conversation. So that's a good thing and something to look forward to. Also, apologies if you hear buzzing, like a... there is a fly flying around this room, and, yeah. But yeah. So in this part, last time, well, not last time, but the first time I ran through this course a couple parts ago, I mentioned Lego Racer. Or Lego Racers, actually, not Lego Racer. There's more than one. I mean, there's 2 games, but there's more than one racer. There's racers. Anyway, yeah, I got it. So this is the part where I went on a rant about how I said that Diddy Kong Lego Racers controlled like a stick of butter that's been out in the sun for too long. That was before I basically started continuing playing the game because I had it paused while I was recording this commentary. Before I went back to play it, and then I realized, wait a minute. Hold on, something doesn't feel right. And as it turns out, you can change the chassis of your car that you built. So, more or less rendered all my complaints about the controls moot, because the turning does have variance depending on the chassis you pick for your car, and so I don't really have much critique against the game anymore, because everything was based on the controls of the game. Like, entirely based on my issues with the controls of the game. For the record, I was using the default chassis that you're given when you build a car, and that's the one that ended up controlling like a stick of butter that's been out in the sun for too long. So I'm not entirely sure what my thoughts are on the game's balance because of the fact that I misconstrued how the controls work, because the turning does change depending on the chassis you use. It's not supremely noticeable, but it does change. So that kind of throws all my points out the window. I don't know. I still feel like it's a little weird, maybe? Now I'm not even sure what to think of it anymore. Everything I knew was a lie. So, I'm doing the post commentary to basically say, if I bring up Lego Racers again in this video and criticize it, then just let you know that this was before I realized that you can change your chassis of the car. And that I'm an idiot also. So, yeah, that's a thing. If I do have any conclusive thoughts on Lego Racers, I'll put it as a pinned comment, I guess. So, hooray. Also, Crash Nitro Kart is a thing. It came out while I was away. And reception has been mostly good. Mostly good being that, well, as my concerns earlier were confirmed, the physics are indeed different because some tricks are now next to impossible. Some shortcuts that are there in the tracks you just can't get to. And apparently, I was really impatient there. And apparently, Beanox or whoever is working on the post-update stuff for Crash Team Racing, Crash Team Racing Nitro Field, they are doing a big update to fix a majority of these issues. Supposedly. The issues that involve the physics. But I'm gonna wait until that point, and if they're still not fixed, I'm gonna wait until just a little bit longer, maybe if it drops some price, I don't know. I still want to get it, because I do think it's kind of neat how they've incorporated not only Crash Team Racing stuff, but stuff from Nitro Kart, and a little bit of Take Team Racing, just a smidge. But what you mean the characters. But yeah. So that's my critique of the day, I guess. Speaking of cartridges, I have no idea how many N64 games used memory cards until, like, the majority of the games that I picked up have to use memory cards. Boy howdy, Snowboard Kids is a hog. Like, good god, it takes up basically the entire memory card. And apparently the second game fixes it, but I didn't pick up that game, I'm like an idiot, and decided to, like, I wanted to get a sequel to one of the games I'm picking up today. Or this weekend. So what do I pick? I pick Chameleon Twist 2. I don't know why, because I think I was at least vaguely aware that that game wasn't good. But I'm like, I want to play it because I always want to play Chameleon Twist 2. I really should have picked up Snowboard Kids 2. Because that game is probably really good. But, I guess next time. Oh well, who gas cloud? So yeah. I guess there's just a hodgepodge of commentary. Here's more. So, yeah. I guess it kind of worked out that this video is as long as it is, because originally it was just going to be the trophy race and Wizpig. And that was it. That would have probably been even shorter than part 11. No, part 9, sorry. It would have been shorter than part 9 were that the case. But thankfully, my dumbass decided to show off how to get TT and the magic code stuff, which added like an extra 10 minutes onto the video. For reasons to be detailed very, very, very soon. And I did a backflip! Hooray! I'm a show-off! That really cost me first place. But it didn't matter because I still won overall, so eat a dick, Conquer. Your game is dead. Your franchise is dead. You, as an IP, is dead. Because last time we saw him, he was literally being imploded with that young Conquer thing. And the numbers in the background almost say elite, but they don't. They just say 337. Oh yeah, I also pick up... anyway, before more tangents, cheat codes! So yeah, this game has cheat codes. How many cheat codes? A lot of fucking cheat codes. I'm only going to be showing off a select few here, because if I were to put in all of them in this little video, well... I could just say right now it took me a really long time. Like, it took me like 5 minutes of doing this. And this is already like 3 minutes long, so I don't think you guys really need to see me putting in all of the cheat codes. Anyway, so... How do you know about these cheat codes, you might ask? Well, every time you beat the game and get a credits roll, a random code will show up. And you can input that code in here. So, the ones I've put in so far are big characters, Star with 10 Bananas, and music test. And this one is probably the dumbest, and I don't even show it off, but apparently this changes your horn sounds to random shouts of the character. And I completely forgot to show that off, but yeah, trust me, it's there. I'm going to actually trust the game on this, but yeah, there's a lot of these cheat codes. I'm not going to tell them all to you, like what the inputs are for these codes, but basically, I will show off the full list at the end, after I do this race with all these stupid cheat codes in. Because there was a lot of stupid cheat codes. Like an awful lot of stupid cheat codes, yeah. But you get a random code every time you beat the game and get a credits roll. So you should write those down whenever possible, because they're random, and I don't know if it's like sometimes they'll show up twice. So at that point, you might as well just look them up online. For cheat code's sake, I don't care. Now, there are a couple of really interesting cheat codes that I'm going to take note of, and will probably not be really showing off, but the two are double vision, which allows multiple players to pick the same racer, which isn't actually a thing normally, and this one, joint venture, a very unique code that allows you to play the adventure mode cooperatively, to a point. You can do all the races together, which means you'll basically have double the chances to get in first place, but all boss races are turn-based. By turn-based, I mean not like literally turn-based races, but you trade off after every failure. You basically take turns, more or less. Anyway, those are all those cheat codes. Now I'm gonna go in here and show off the music test, which is, well, as you would expect, it's a music test. For some reason, 0 and 1 don't really play anything. At all. Siren, please ignore it. I'm on the main floor. But yeah, this is very strange. Like, why don't they play anything? It's very odd.
Diddy Kong Racing.
Anyway, so for this, I'm going to show off Conquer. Because I haven't shown off Conquer before, so I figured I might as well do that now. Makes sense to me, doesn't it? I also forgot to do something very important, was that bring up Conquer's controls, which I didn't do, but I'm going to do now. So, ta-da, there you go. Now, Diddy is all around. Banjo is high top speed, kind of shitty acceleration, and average handling. Conquer is, let's see, average top speed, he's kind of a weird one. He's like a slightly faster Diddy Kong, but with worse handling and acceleration. So, if you know how to navigate these courses, then you could just pick Conquer instead of Diddy. Because he's not that much of a trade-off. But yeah, as you can tell, even with that ultimate AI code I put on, nothing really matters because I have max power-up mode, stupid acceleration. Well, not stupid acceleration, but basically all the balloons are now blue balloons, which means I am going to boost like crazy. And yeah, for the record, a majority of these cheat codes just straight up do not work in adventure mode. I think the change in the balloons, the bananas, and I think that's about it. Oh no, and the max power. Those ones don't work in adventure mode. Racer size and I think AI do work, as well as the stupid ones like change your horns to character screams. But yeah, if you want, you could just hate yourself and play adventure mode like this, where your racer is obscenely huge, and the AI is absolutely ridiculous. I guess that could be your hard mode. Unfortunately, this cheat code stuff doesn't exist in the DS version, so I'm showing it off here and now because I won't be able to do it when I eventually, or if I ever do an Adventure 2 run on Diddy Kong Racing DS. But yeah, you wouldn't know it, but that basically Conquer is a slightly faster Diddy with worse controls in terms of handling. And anyway, in case you want to know how many cheat codes, a fucking lot. Like, look at how many goddamn cheat codes there are. There's big characters, small characters, music menu, discover 10 bananas, horn sheet, disable credits, weapons, bananas, well, display credits, disable weapons, bananas, and a whole bunch of other random stuff. This was me in a previous attempt to show off stuff. Spoiler alert, I didn't do it. Now the reason why I didn't do it is because one, I used the character that we haven't shown off yet, but we will shortly. And two, entering cheat codes takes literally forever. So yeah, there's a lot of cheat codes. Anyway, I know you guys saw this. So, yeah, let's talk about that clock, shall we? So, you can unlock TT as a playable racer. And for the purpose of this, we're gonna show off Drumstick. Say hello, Drumstick. Drumstick? I know your eyes are blinking independently, and it's really fucking weird, but yeah. So, Drumstick. He's a very, very interesting fella, he is. And here I am showing off all the times. Why? So you can get a guesstimate about the times you need to beat. Basically, there are some courses that are really annoying, and some courses that are literally piss easy. For some reason, I'm just gonna say this right now, TT has a really hard time flying a plane. Every time I've done a plane-based race, he falls behind really fast. Like, really fast. Like, it's kind of embarrassing how bad he falls behind. But yeah. So, time trials are fun and they will drain on you. Now, I'm gonna take a small moment to talk about one particular course here, and that is Frosty Village, when we get to it. So he's more or less a better banjo. Anyway, well, better quotations. He has the same top speed stat as Banjo, but really, really bad acceleration and handling. And let me tell you about this, okay? Drumstick's gimmick is that he is the character with the highest top speed in the entire game. Because of that, when you hit a zipper with the let go of the acceleration trick, you go flying. And as a result of that, I highly recommend Drumstick for basically every time trial. Because TT is a goddamn motherfucker. And specifically Snowy Valley, he is literally the worst. I tried with numerous characters in Snowy Village. Did I say Snowy Valley? If I did, I meant Snowy Village. And Snowy Village is probably the hardest time trial in the entire game. And for some reason this voice is different, I never understood that. But yeah, TT is very, very much a bastard, because his whole thing is that he basically knows the perfect route through most of these courses. And in the case of Snowy Village, he somehow manages to swipe up every banana in his path, eventually. To the point where if you're not at a decent speed next to him by lap 2, he is going to be around halfway. He's going to be halfway around the track by the time you get started on the 3rd lap. That's how fast he ends up getting. So yeah. Also, if you press right C, you can show the speedometer. I know I'm like 13 parts late to mentioning this, but yes, you can show the speedometer, and this is useful for basically indicating, one, if the boost trick is working, or the tap and the acceleration trick is working, and two, to show you just how goddamn fast Drumstick can get, because he can get really fucking fast. If it wasn't clear enough that I mentioned it already. So yeah, if I were to hazard a guess, if I were to say, throw out recommendations, for the story mode, my main picks would be Diddy or Conquer. For trophy races, Banjo, because he is faster, but he is not obscenely awful to control. And Drumstick for time trials, because you want to be as fast as you possibly can, which means sacrificing acceleration for basically mashing the restart button if you make so much as a single fuck-up. But yeah. So, as I mentioned before, the method to race TT for every single course involves doing it twice at least. Meaning that you have to at least beat the original time that the course showed off by a decent amount, which I don't do here. And then, once you do that, TT will race you as a ghost. And if you beat TT in that race, you check off that course as one that you've done to, you know, unlock him. Yes, you do have to do this for all 20 courses in the game. Now, as you can tell, I didn't do it fast enough to get myself the race against TT. However, racing on a course does temporarily save a ghost. I say temporarily because in order to save ghosts, you have to save them to the memory card, and that actually takes up quite a bit of memory. So, highly not recommended. But temporarily, if you race on the same course again, you get a ghost. And this is kind of useful, if only because it helps you gauge in the TT race whether or not you've already done better than him. And if you do that, and basically, I'm not exactly sure, but if you race against TT, and you've already beaten his time, do you have to still complete the race against TT, or is it like, okay, you did it, you unlocked me? Well, I mean, you do, but I mean, do you have to win the race if you've already gotten a better time than TT? Because I think that time right there is better than TT. It's just straight up. It's just better than TT's. However, as you can see here, TT is now racing against us. I already have. So, what I'm basically asking is if you have to beat him in this race, or if you just have to finish the race, irregardless of whether or not you beat TT, so long as you've previously beaten this time. If you've beaten this time. Because I know, like I said, obviously you have to beat him if you haven't beaten his time previously before racing him. But, yeah. That was a really weirdly phrased question, and it probably made zero sense, but... Anyway, yeah. So, basically, you want to do most of these time trial races perfectly, and you don't... I wouldn't recommend having the speedometer up. I would recommend having the map up, just to gauge how TT races on a certain course. In case you are not able to tell, he is the lighter gray icon on the minimap, instead of the darker gray, which is your ghost. Yay! And yeah, I saved the first course for last because it would, you know, take the least amount of time. Obviously. I planned this, don't worry, it's okay. Anyway, with that, we have now acquired TT as a playable racer. And we will use this to show off how busted he is. And by busted, I mean he is the best racer in the entire game. He has the highest speed, and the, well, not the best acceleration and handling, but it's pretty up there. So he's basically the best racer in the game. Not sure if better than the boss races, because they're boss races, but you know. Still. Yeah. Anyway, originally I showed off the last race with TT, which meant I was going to save this until, like, after I had originally beaten the last race. But I decided to do this one again, specifically because, well, jumping the gun just a smidge, I still think this race is harder than the last one. Like, the last actual race you have to do. Mostly because, like I said, if you miss a zipper, or drive in the grass for too long, you basically have to stop, and give up, and quit. Just fail it. Anyway, you remember how Wizpig took me, like, well, without getting into... Basically, it took me like 10 times plus to beat Wizpig before. This is only my second attempt with TT, and I win. And I'm also trying my best to not use the match the acceleration trick, but I think I did that in the first race and basically just gave up because it wasn't really doing me anything. So, Yeah, originally I was going to show off just how far ahead you can get without having to do the let go of the acceleration off the zippers trick or doing the rapid tap to go faster, but I said, you know what, heck it. Now, if you remember, I cut it really goddamn close. Actually, it's on the second lap I show off, so it's like, look how much I'm able to maintain my lead on him, even without hitting every single zipper and without, you know, letting go of acceleration while going over zippers. And it's like, look, I'm still basically ahead of him. He doesn't even catch up to me this lap. Like, this is how absurdly broken TT is. He is really good. However, you basically need to, you know, do a whole lot of stuff to get him. Basically racing through every single course in the game twice, more or less in a row, because, you know, it's better to do it in a row. And now, normally, if I had, you know, going in the water there, would have cost me the race. But because TT is the goddamn god clock, do you see how far ahead I am of this goddamn pig? Do you? It's so absurd how far ahead of him I am. And in retrospective, the other reason I did this race is for a funny bit that comes up here, because it's very strange. And if you remember what happens in this cutscene, you'll know why. So yeah, it's funny. It's great. I laughed. I clapped. Now, something I should also mention, because I don't want to repeat myself later on and forget to repeat this point, but Taj and Wizpig are unlockable racers. Yep. Anyway, now there are two TTs. Which one is the real one? Which one do I shoot? The answer is neither of them, because we're not going to play as them anymore. Let's not party and instead do the actual race we've been holding off this entire part, shall we? Yes. So after you complete the Silver Coin challenges of Future Friendland, you get access to this. Oh, right, and also, you know, beating all the world mini-games, like, you know, the Fire Mountain and all those weird sub-games you have to get the keys for. You have to do that. It's mandatory to beat the game. That's why there's the TT amulet on the door before that door. Anyway, here is the final race against Wizpig. Yes, it's Wizpig. I feel like I mentioned the final race was Wizpig, and then I try to say, you know, it's not, though. It's not actually. It's like, I was trying to be vague like a couple parts ago. It's like, no, it's Wizpig. Come on now. Anyway, so, ranking time. A little bit. And the colors in the sky are going absolutely nuts. So, ranking. Bluey, Smoky, Tricky, Wizpig round, Bubbler, Wizpig round 2, and then Wizpig. Yeah. Now, the reason why I put round 2 Wizpig below the original one is it's not a matter of him being a pain in the ass, it's the matter of the course design being a pain in the ass. Which I guess is quantifiable to the race being a pain in the ass, but he's still not as bad as Wizpig 1, because there is ways to catch up. For instance, you know, there's items on the course for one, which I don't think was ever a thing in the first race. The first race. And second, there are a numerous number of exploits you can do to break this race, of which I don't really show off any, you know, notable ones, like the clipping underneath the map to basically cheat the game into thinking you're cutting corners really hard, but still manage to, you know, get a tight lap around. But yeah, he's a lot easier to beat, although it's a lot more stressful, because, you know, playing controls are not the best. That or I just suck, which is also a distinct possibility. A very distinct possibility indeed. Yeah, so only slightly easier. He is easier, but only slightly, and his race is, I think, easier just for slightly different reasons than what you would expect. It's difficult. Okay, no, actually, the term I should have been using is it's slightly more difficult, but for different reasons. Whereas Wizpig Race 1, it was more about Wizpig himself being incredibly fast, and the course design was rather simplistic. In this race, Wizpig is actually a lot easier to gain a lead on, but holy hell, this course is out to kill you. There are spaceships, there are tight tunnels, there are ducks and dives, and then there's this section up here, which you got a glimpse of during the highlight reel, that is literally the definition of a clusterfuck. By the way, that power up that bear, that shield, you might want to grab that if you're not going to do what I'm doing. So what I do, instead of going for the shield power up, is I hug really closely to the ceiling and then dip down when I get to the end of it. If you hug the ceiling close enough, you basically will never get hit by any laser blast. I feel like that is a trick I picked up on my own accord, and I don't recall picking it up anywhere else. But yeah, what you basically want to do is, well, yes, just hug the ceiling. And don't bother with balloons. Don't bother with speed boost balloons, because you just want to get on Wizpig's case if he gets ahead of you. Using missiles and stuff, so yeah. But yeah, normally this section right here is supposed to be the hardest part of the entire course, but with this trick I discovered, it's now the easiest part. The hardest part comes with this first section here and then the tunnel. Because, you know, controls and whatnot. Yeah, like, honestly, most of the time I've restarted this race, both when I streamed this back in, like, what, 2012? Yeah, I want to say 2012, 2013, something like that. And this time is from that first section up there with the asteroids. And then after that, it's like really easy, honestly. So, yeah. That's basically all there is to say about Wizpig here. Now, the fun part comes in basically trying to remember if I was... Okay, yeah, really quick. Taj and Wizpig are unlockable racers in Diddy Kong Racing DS. You unlock Taj by completing Adventure Mode, and then you unlock Wizpig by completing Adventure 2 mode. I will not be showing off... I'm not sure... Well, no, I'm going to be showing off Wizpig when I, you know, do Diddy Kong Racing DS if I do it. But I'm debated about who I'm going to use to go through Adventure 2 mode in general, and I'm thinking about it, and I'm tempted to actually try out using Taj. I don't know if that's what I'm going to end up doing, but I might end up using Taj just because, you know, it's also kind of a challenge, because both Taj and Wizpig have the same stats, by which I mean they have the high top speed with really bad acceleration and handling, so it'd be interesting and probably a bad idea in hindsight. Well, thinking about it, but, you know, whatever, lol. To just, you know, give it a shot. Anyway, Wizpig is dead, maybe. Probably dead. I don't know. He exploded in space. What do you want? Anyway, shall we try this party thing again? I think we shall. Hopefully this time it won't be interrupted rudely by some space magician man, because that would be a bother. Anyway, yeah, that head on the mountain was actually Taj the whole time. No, Wizpig. It's supposed to be Taj, because this is his island. Habitat place. It's a very weird island, this place. It should also be noted that Diddy Kong Racing actually has an opening cutscene that isn't, you know, I'm Wizpig's face on a mountain, wahaha. Hello, I am Taj Blue Elephant Man. You must race, have fun. It's got like some weird backstory thing with like text narration and everything. And the sound weirdly cuts out there. No, that is not the capture card. That is not a sound issue with the capture card. It just stops. It just stops. Hey, look, it's TT and Drumstick. Unlockable racers. And Conquer, whose franchise is dead. There he goes. Into hell. Where he will die. Forgotten and alone. Well, not forgotten. Who the hell was on the back of Smokey there? Oh, it's Timber. Why are you on the back of the dragon, Timber? Okay. So yeah, that is Diddy Kong Racing Diddy Kong Racing, not DS yet, but that is Diddy Kong Racing. So, time for final thoughts. Okay. So, oh wait, forgot this a little bit. Yeah, no, Wizpig ain't dead yet. Oh, this basically means nothing because this game doesn't get a sequel at all. Well, I mean, it was going to, but then it didn't. So anyway, final thoughts for real. Okay. First and foremost, let me just get it out of the way because it is a positive. Music is the goddamn shit. It is the most boppinest soundtrack for a racing game I've probably ever heard in my life. Maybe next to a few select tracks from Mario Kart 8, but for the most part, I mean, this entire soundtrack is just God. It's God tier. David Wise did a superb job on making this track. Good job, D-Wise. Good job. Second, I think another thing I'd like to note as a positive. Also, the rest of the staff. I don't know why they say also, like, these are the extra people. No, these are just the rest of the staff. What are you talking about? Oh no, these are technically staff workers. Never mind. It is technically, like, mislinked. Oh, what? You know what? Whatever. Oh. Chris Seaver, who is the voice of Conquer. Anyway, what was I doing? I forgot my point. I do like, I think compared to most other kart racers at the time, how each of the zones or the different cups, the collection of 4 courses, they have a shared theme and aesthetic, which no, I don't think any of the other kart racers at this time did that. Like Mario Kart 64 had a bunch of courses, but they didn't really have a connected theme for each specific cup. Lego Racers sure as hell doesn't have that, and I can tell you that for sure. And I know Crash Team Racing also doesn't have that, but it kind of has it, in a sense. It has more grounded themes based on, places from the game. Lego Race is just a clusterfuck. But yeah, let's get into the more, critical points. Okay. So originally I was gonna make critique of the controls, and I'm gonna be honest, these controls for this kart racer are kind of neat how, they showed me this one again. Like, why? It's fucking weird. Anyway, and also here are the stat times. So, in terms of kart racers, the controls of these games are actually kind of, interesting with how much depth they have for something as simple as a kart racer. With the letting go of acceleration while going over a zipper, or the, the varying stats that are kind of felt as you played. I mean, Mario Kart 64 kind of had that, but you weren't able to really grasp it as much because sprites don't give off the same kind of feedback, I guess. I don't know, I'm just talking nonsense with regard to that, but yeah. It does have a lot of character and charm for a kart race of its time. Now, once again, I must bring up, the way that the game flows in terms of, its single-player stuff is a bit annoying with how much you have to basically redo everything. Not forgoing that there's also Adventure 2 mode, which is like, hey, you want to race all these courses again? And yeah, that's basically Adventure 2. But it's a really good time for multiplayer and stuff like that, so I'd still say it's a good pick. It has aged a smidge, but it isn't the worst thing I've ever played. But which, I mean, it's still pretty good. Anyway, with that, next time, I will see you next time. So, God, bad outro is bad. So until then, see you later and goodbye.